Okay, down in Ampere Brava. I think it's just about 3 p.m. Allegra Nasi joins us. Good afternoon, Allegra.
Good afternoon. Hello, everybody.
I know you from skydiving, from tunnel flying. You do a lot of close work with Will Penny. You know, you're coaching hard. But I also know you from the Care All Foundation, and we've got some great news about that. There's a new initiative. But first of all, Allegra, tell us and everybody watching what the Care All Foundation is. What is it all about?
Well, first of all, in the name of the Care All Foundation, Regan, thank you very much for giving us the space to talk about ourselves. The Care All Foundation is a foundation with a mission of helping give possibilities for better lives. And we started out with some non-skydiving related actions, causes. And then because we're fortunate to be part of such an incredibly generous and enveloping, and I don't even know the words to express what this community is, we saw that in fact, because it's a very tight-knit community, people are very ready to help each other. So it kind of took its own life, and it went in the direction more of skydiving with the Sky Family Fund, which is a fund that's in place to help in the unfortunate moments when members of our sport and of the base jumping community have accidents. So the way that works is that there's some money there, and when there's an accident, we just send that out. Like, I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't solve everything, but it's kind of more of a hug from the community. Then we have an action, which is more a desire to create awareness. This is an industry that consumes a lot in terms of the environment. So very inspired by skydiving Pura Brava, who is now carbon neutral. We kind of started centralizing, like if people want information on how to become carbon neutral, etc., they can contact us and we redirect them to kind of mainly to put awareness. I mean, we're just kind of intermediaries to help give people information. And then we have this third project, which is something that I'm super excited about. We are giving out a scholarship to become tunnel instructors to youngsters belonging to centers for youngsters at risk of socioeconomic exclusion, which is really exciting because aside from putting a diploma in their hand, we're actually, I mean, flying, we're all flyers. And I think as humans, we all have hurts and holes and lacks, and you arrive to flying and it just fills whichever hole you have, whichever difficulty you have, it gives you confidence if you lack confidence, courage if you lack courage. So for me, the opportunity to give a diploma and also give all the things that you need to believe in yourself and in positive things happening to these kids. So I'm super, super excited.
It's very exciting. It's a fantastic cause. Being a tunnel instructor for a young person is a great start in life. It's athletic, it's aerobic, it's skillful, you're meeting lots of people, it's customer service. It's a great basic diploma in how to be a person, isn't it? How to live as an adult. But it's not cheap to become an instructor. You need to have a big disposable income or parents who are going to finance it. It can feel quite elitist. And what you're doing is giving people a chance.
Yes. And that's, you know, I think that it's aside from the financial requirements to access this world, which is an expensive sport, what I realized in speaking to the centers is that, in fact, before that, there's the thing that all of these kids come from difficult life situations and difficult pasts, and their mind is very shut to the limited possibilities that they see in front of them. So we had a couple of years ago, we had an event to raise funds for the Sky Family Fund, and we invited a whole bunch of kids from these centers to just fly a minute and a half as first timers. And part of the feedback that we received is that all of a sudden these kids who thought that they could only go in one not very happy direction started seeing that, oh my God, I can fly, I can do this, I can do that, and all of a sudden their possibilities open. And I personally believe that if you have hope, you can do whatever you want. And I think that this, and also the metaphor of flying and Superman and it's a big possibility, and in a very young sport, which allows even more possibilities, because you can come in as an instructor and become an instructor. You can come in as an instructor and become a competitor. Here in Empuria, we have a lot of incredibly talented young flyers who in 4 or 5 years in the sport became world champions. So a whole bunch of passion, we know what flying does. I don't even know how to talk about it.
It feeds with each other. I remember my first time going to do my first parachute jump, my first time on a drop zone, and there were people there from all different ages and all walks of life. And so from my little town, you only really interacted with people who were very similar to you. And all of a sudden, very quickly, I was having conversations with people from different age groups about things I'd never even thought about, just really opening my mind within hours. And so giving people days and weeks to be exposed to the kind of positivity we have in all sorts of aviation, it's only a good thing. How does it work? How does it, what's going to be the process? How do the people get selected?
Okay, well, we're in the middle of a world pandemic, so we had to adapt. We had to adapt the program to be non-presential and as easy to adapt if there are closing and stuff. So the way we do it is we have a panel of judges who, nothing that we do could be done without this community, because they jump in and help and do everything. So we have a panel of judges. The 14 participants that we have this year, from their 5 nationalities, 12 guys and 2 girls between 17 and 22. In the first phase, they're sending in a video. The judges will then select 50% of them, who will go through a second phase of a Zoom interview with the judges. 3 of them will be selected. The 3 will come to Windor Empuria, who is our partner in this project. They will have a 15-minute test flight in front of the judges, or at least videoed. There we will announce the recipient of the scholarship, who will be living in Empuria for the duration of his or her course. At the end of everything, one of the preoccupations that we had was to be very careful to not make this exclusive and competitive. Yes. Because in fact, even people who don't become instructors are going to find a family and a passion and possibilities. So at the end of everything, we're going to have a big open day with all the kids that participated to come just hang out on the drop zone and eat a sandwich and go listen to the noise at the tunnel and just show them what, for me, with an incredible amount of incredibly improbable coincidences, led me to find a family, a passion, a sport, a lifestyle. I have goosebumps all over my body. You and everybody knows what I'm talking about. So offering this to somebody that maybe didn't really even have any of the decent and good things that we take for granted. I'm looking forward to them being hugged by this community.
It's a lovely thing. It really is, and it's just these little initiatives around the world, once it's like setting fire to little things, suddenly they all become a big fire. We can't hope for more than that, can we? Trying to get, it really
kind
is.
of the big vision that we have with this project, is to start it this year in Empuria, then maybe replicate it in a tunnel in another world. It's very easy, to put together. And then who knows? I mean, maybe we could be giving access to this world and the sport to kids who never would have even dreamed in their wildest dreams about being able to fly.
What was your story? How did you get involved in flying? When did that all begin for you?
Wow. If I look back, it was so many minutes of, I just talked to a friend who's a skydiver who happened to, I have serious vertigo. So it was kind of improbable for me to come here, but he talked about it in a way. When I asked him, what's it like? He said, I can't tell you because you've never done anything similar. And that piqued my interest. And I did a tandem and the next day did the course.
Where was that? In Empuria? Was that there?
That was actually in Italy. I did it in a really nice drop zone in Italy with amazing, supportive people. Another wonderful thing of this world. And then I met Will and we became very good friends. And because we're all very fortunate, we started kind of cruising to amazing places in the world, Polynesia and Micronesia, etc., to cite a few, skydiving.
Yes.
And then the tunnel kind of, because I'm afraid to skydive, the tunnel's a good way to take out my competitiveness and my, you have to do this well. Like the sky.
Tell me about, I want to hear about that experience with the tandem and then deciding you were going to do the course. What happened there? I mean, when did you know that you wanted to do it again? Was it during the tandem? Was it after? What happened?
I think it was probably already before. Interestingly, I ran into on Facebook a friend of my parents that I hadn't seen since I was like 5.
Yeah.
And he reminded me that I said when I was tiny, I was always saying, oh, I want to fly, I want to fly. So apparently it's something I think I had decided before, and probably the being a scared and afraid skydiver, it's kind of a pain in the neck because I come down on planes and I drive everybody crazy.
Yeah.
But the offside of it is that every single jump is a conquering of the fear. So I think that the combination of being convinced that I was going to die in the tandem and that I wasn't going to, I think I asked the poor instructor 15 times if he connected me. And the combination of then feeling on the floor, wow, look at this, that just got me hooked. And I think for those of us that are anxious people, which I definitely am, there's no better therapy than skydiving. It's a bit hardcore, but if you manage the biggest fear of all, because if you're afraid to skydive, you're afraid to die, then really the little fears, the emotional fears, the little stuff that really gets in the way of life kind of disappears. Yeah. So really, it filled everything that I needed to have filled magically, and even those things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to have found this world and this community.
It's amazing, isn't it? And what an amazing story. And we've heard it so many times from so many people. And I think as well, for me, the biggest realization was that fear is not just yourself. I mean, I got my license and I think I had about 50 or 60 jumps and I was absolutely terrified every single time. I've even got to the drop zone. It was an hour from where I lived. I got to the gates and I've turned around and driven an hour back. And that was after 50 jumps. And it took me a long time to, I don't know, condition yourself to feel it's good. But I think for me, it was always a case of if I stop now, then there's a line in the sand and I found my limit. You know, if I stop now, I've found my limit. If I do one more, I've pushed that limit a little bit more. But if I do stop, that's it. I know my limit. And for me, that was the scariest thing of all, of finding my limit, thinking I can't go any further.
Fear tends to win. If you let it win once, then it tends to start thinking that it can beat you in all other parts of life.
Yes.
You know, I think the managing the fear, I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but I think that it's a very interesting life experience. It's interesting to hear people that look as confident and skydivers with a lot of experience and then chat and realize that everybody has their own fears, whether it's fear to fail in competition, whether it's fear to get hurt, whether it just brings up what needs to be brought up, I guess. I mean, I think that to get on a plane and jump out of it, so that's pretty powerful.
Yes, yes. With the scholarship and the people that are going to be taking part, what is the process? How do they get involved? How are they chosen, the initial group of people?
We actually opened up the selection to this year's edition to the province, to all the centers for kids at risk of socioeconomic exclusion of the provinces of Girona and Barcelona.
Fantastic.
So it was an open call. We have 3 centers participating, 2 in Girona and 1 more towards Barcelona. And the hope, of course, is that through this first edition, then the communication will go further and next year we'll have more participants. So that's, you know, the idea is to just open it up to whoever wants to fly, I guess.
I can just imagine a scenario a couple of years, 2 or 3 years down the line, commentating on one of those people at the Wing Games.
Oh, I just got a big goosebump. That would be so amazing. And you know, the thing is that it's actually very realistic. I mean, if a kid starts playing football, the chances of him playing in Real Madrid are pretty unlikely. If a kid starts flying and really puts himself and his heart or her heart to it, there's actually a pretty good chance that to get there. So, oh, but that's an appointment that I'd love to make with you in in 2-3 years, commentating one of these kids.
What about Danny Gallego? I mean, he was working in Figueres, waiting tables.
Exactly.
He was one of the best flyers in the world within what,
and it was I started flying before him. I mean, it took me like 3 years of Danny Gallego was world champion. I was still trying to do a back layout. But it took him, that's my nemesis, back layouts. But it took him, it's insane. Like I saw him fly in 2 months from the classic first timer on my back, I'm gonna die, woo, to all of a sudden becoming, and you know, it's actually amazing to see also how it changes, you know, how it changes people, how it gives them confidence, how it gives them objectives and aims and determination, and just, I want it, I'm going to get it, I don't care, you know. So who knows, maybe one of these kids who won't be selected will come here, fall in love with the sport, and decide that he's going to go to any extreme and work every night and pay for his own course. You know, I mean, I think that there's just planting the seed can open a lot of, I mean, I hope will open doors that we can't even imagine.
Getting people to reach the potential. We can't ask for more than that, Allegra. What's happening for you now for the next few weeks? What's going on?
The drop zone is open and the planes are flying and there are people and there's weight and it's amazing. You know, the day that the drop zone opened, it was the best sensation because it was super crowded and I've never seen, you could see under people's masks, you could see that they were smiling. It was amazing. Everybody was happy to wait and happy to, it was just such a, I love skydivers. I love this world. I'm very grateful that life led me here.
Oh, Allegra, what a great way to end it. It's been lovely to catch up with you.
Thank you very much.
It's fantastic to hear about this program and this scholarship. And of course, the Care Foundation. It's a brilliant thing to be part of. Thank you very much for joining us on Air Sports News.
Thank you very, very much, Regan. Thank you for the space. Thank you to everybody.